So welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us with artist Li Hongwei, who currently has a show up at the Kalamazoo Institute of Arts called Balancing the Cosmos, works by Li Hongwei. Let me tell you a little bit about our esteemed guest. Li Hongwei received an MFA from the School of Art and Design of Alfred University in 2007 as a tenured faculty member of the College of Fine Arts at the Capital Normal University and a visiting scholar at Alfred University. Li Hongwei splits his time between Beijing and New York. He is a member of the International Academy of Ceramics in Geneva and the Chinese Sculpture Institute in Beijing. Over the years, his works have been exhibited in the National Art Museum of China, the Louvre, the Art Institute of Chicago, and the Dublin Castle in Ireland, among others. His work is also represented in permanent collections internationally and within the US. And Hongwei Li is represented by Pucker Gallery in Boston, Massachusetts. Welcome, Hongwei. Nice to have you with us today. I know we were originally thinking we were going to be able to do this in person, but unfortunately, just due to the circumstances, we are still in a pandemic. You're joining us from your studio in Beijing, which we love to see. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Rehema, for the introduction.
You're welcome. So I know that, looking at your work, we currently have the video of you producing the work just to give people a little bit of insight into your process. But can you talk, I mean, like for instance, you have a work right behind you that is kind of similar to one of the works that's currently up in the gallery, the Joy-Light Gallery of that is on our lower level. And can you just talk about the sort of the process that first goes into it? I mean, there's a lot of different processes.
Yes. So, the works in the Kalamazoo Institute of Arts right now, I think have a different series. So most of the pieces will be the Xuan pieces. You may see a few pieces behind me, the smaller piece and the larger piece. The larger piece was made of ceramic shards and stainless steel. So let's start with the smaller piece. The smaller piece of Xuan piece, and start with vase forms. So originally I made the vessel form, and then I cut it to organic form. And then according to this ceramic form, I use stainless steel not to work on the extension part. So, but all hand-wrought stainless steel. You couldn't do the cast because there is a shrinkage after the casting. So you have to have this ceramic part first, and then work on the extension part by the steel frame or the foam, and then use the stainless steel, not to hand-wrought the stainless steel, and with different parts, and then welded them together and start to grind and polish until it reach the mirror surface, and then the metal structure to work together with these two parts, ceramics and stainless steel. So that's the main process. But the larger piece with the ceramic shards, similar idea, but just opposite way. We work on the stainless steel first, and then we have this space left for the ceramic shards. So for each piece of ceramic shards, I use screw to tie it up. So there's a metal structure instead of glue. There's no glue at all. It's totally physical structure to work on the ceramic shards and the metal.
So knowing that that you're blending these two really different materials, can you talk about how you came to sort of start this blending of ceramics and stainless steel and sort of the significance of those two materials?
Okay, so I've been working originally I started to work on the realistic, figurative sculpture. So as a tradition, I did the bronze casting, iron casting, stainless steel casting, even the hand-wrought stainless steel. Originally, I worked on those materials while I was in the college. While I was in CAFA, it's a 5-year sculpture program. And then later, for my later year, I started focus on the ceramic material, but still work on the sculptures. So I worked on the two different directions, figurative sculpture and ceramics. So it took a very long time. Finally, those two materials started to, combine together. So when I start to use ceramic material and stainless steel together, because I have been working on this crystalline glaze for years. And this glaze is so beautiful and strong. So in order to work with this glaze and the sculptural form, the sculptural form has to be simple and easy to identify. So this complicated glaze would be work well with the simple form. So that's just the idea, just still kind of the balance. Because when I work on the figurative sculpture, that the form is quite kind of at least more complicated than the organic form right now. So I started to to create the simple forms. Finally, can combine with this very strong artistic glaze. So that's the original idea. So I started to develop these forms. So so I know there's a piece called Allegory Balance in the Kalamazoo Institute of Arts. Those pieces, if you see the piece in person, each object is kind of rounded, or you call it oval form, but actually is one side is rounded, the other side is kind of square. So a square within a circle. So it's a combination. This related to the Chinese philosophy. So some people may have this experience when you see the ancient Chinese money, the coin. You will see there is an empty space inside of this circle. Coin inside is a square. So still it's a square within a circle. This is related to the ancient Chinese cosmology. So people thought, the earth is square and the heaven is doomed. So this is a square within a circle, always related to this ancient cosmology.
Okay.
That's why still, in terms of sculpture, according to my experience, so the round, a circle, you feel soft, and the square, you feel sharp and strong. So still there's a balance. So strong and weak, soft and hard. So it's a combination. So I think the balancing the cosmos is the perfect title for this show, so because there's a philosophical thinking behind on my work. So so this form, so I feel those pretty simple and strong and means a lot. So I started to combine with the ceramic material together. That's how I started working on those two. So I think the ceramics is related to the ancient history, especially for China. China had this very long history related to so many things, culture, ceramic industry, even even the business with other countries in the past. And the stainless steel is a more modern and contemporary industrial material. Combination kind of is between the past and now. So when people look at the ceramic piece, you can feel the ancient history, but when your eye moved onto the stainless steel part, you will see the reflection of your own. You can feel here and now. So there is a contrast, the past and now, the ancient and here and now. So
So there's a lot of like significance as far as like the materiality, thinking about past and present, thinking about tradition and still sort of paying tribute to traditional Chinese ceramic making, which has thousands of years of history. And you said something earlier to me, and I was thinking, I made a note of it. I just kind of want to talk about the different types of the glazes that you use, because you've sort of perfected your use of the crystalline glazes. Can you talk about sort of the significance of the glaze work and it's another element, the added element that it brings to the works as well?
Okay, so for the philosophy, to me, I feel the ceramic is for my art is technical support. So the material. So ceramic is only a small part of my art. It's a very important part, for my life, but consider my art. So it's a very small part of my art because I consider ceramic as a technical support to my creative artistic work. I did spend a lot of time and energy onto the ceramics, even including the glazing, the firing. And so while I work on the crystalline glaze, I had this strong enthusiasm to it. Because you can imagine, I fired this for no exaggeration, I over 1,000 times, for this, and I had a very strong experience. Most of the case, as an artist, I want to do new things. I always want to create something new, never happened before. But for this firing, kind of repeat again, over again. I've been thinking why I still have this enthusiasm to keep working on this, because I always can explore something new. During this glaze application and the firing, even I keep changing the ingredients, the recipe of the glaze, keep changing back and forth, but achieve better result. This is like a play bowling, the bowling, most people know that there's a certain pattern of this oil, and some people play the hook ball, but for each throw, the oil pattern keep changing. Even you do exactly the same shot, you may not hit the whole pins. So like the firing, because the fire strong or a little bit weak, and the temperature and how kind of the size of the ceramic ware you put into the kiln all affect the final firing. So it's always different factors will affect the firing, the result. So I have to keep changing, adjust the different factors to achieve the ideal result, which I always feel something new. There's always something I need to explore, which kind of always keep me very enthusiastic to this. So that's ceramics to me. So I learned a lot from the mistakes, the firing, most of the time, for the crystalline glaze firing is very frustrating. And sometimes there's a surprise, truly, you can get a very beautiful, surface.
I mean, I was listening to you talk about all that goes into the crystalline glaze work, and I'm really curious about, and I know we've talked about this before, but is it is it ever hard when you're doing the breaking, like sort of the fragment series, the works that we were kind of talking about? That's kind of I think it's an example behind you almost. That might be one of the fragments. But
Yeah.
but yeah, is it ever hard, like just knowing how much effort you go into perfecting this process of glazing to then go in after you've done all of these nice vessels and then go and break them for the purposes of a bigger vessel? Is there ever a time that you're just like, oh, maybe not this one? Like maybe you've selected some and then you get to one and you're just like, yeah, no, not that one after all.
Yeah, this almost happen. It's happened every day, and okay, I did need a lot of ceramic shards, so I need do a lot of firing. I have been learning, Buddha for a very long time. So still there's something behind the work. All those ceramic shards come from my studio. I never get commercial ceramics to broke it to use the ceramic shards because I want to create something. Even for the ceramic shards, it's unique and special. And I really care about the quality of the ceramic shards, the surface of the glaze. I could see, I touched every single piece of the ceramic shards. And when I do the firing, this is magical. In the ancient China, before people firing the kiln, they would do a special ceremony. They were pray to the kiln god, to bless them could get a successful firing, because in the past people couldn't understand why they use the clay to make something. After the firing, put some glaze, and fire turned so beautiful and strong, kind of like as strong as a stone. People couldn't understand because we had limited science.
Right.
Some kind of science couldn't understand. Until later, people could understand the ceramic process in a scientific way. Now we know people have this faith to get an ideal firing. So for me, I had same thing in common. I had this experience. I've been very busy. So I had this similar experience. So for example, now during certain period of time, I have been very busy. So I just put something and apply the glaze, put in the kiln, and set up the program. Come back and check back and forth, and been busy with other things. And then after the firing, most of the case, I would say maybe all of this kind of case, I never get ideal results. And there's something magical. I realize all the very ideal result turned out because my heart has been there. So that's why when I start to fire the kiln, I really pay attention, not for my eyes and my body. It's my heart was always there. I really care about the firing, start from the clay body and the glaze application and the firing and the monitor the firing, the whole process, cutting everything. Even if you don't pay attention, after the firing, you need to cut the base of the glaze, and then most of the case, you will break the vase, the very beautiful vase. So I always have this very sincere, the mind, I have to do the best job. I really care about this. I consider this as a part of my body or a part of my life. And for most of the case, I could get a very ideal, work, that matters, sculpture or vessel form. So this I learned from the tradition. So I think, for the art, there is something, how can I say, beyond, our understanding in certain ways. So there's something very magical, and I feel so amazing. So that's why, for most of the cases, for the important pieces, I really pay attention to that, not only for the technical things, because I've been working this for years and years, and I know everything, all the details of this, glaze application, the glaze making, firing, cutting, everything. But if you don't do a good job of your mind, it's nothing. I think that's art. And that's why I have been having this trouble kind of, after the firing, I have to pick up the piece, I need to break it because in the ceramic shards. And so that's why all the ceramic vessels left are the perfect ones. Otherwise, I will break it. I think this is my quality. So I believe every single piece of the vessels has its own destiny. It doesn't mean the best piece get the most expensive money, but I mean it will have this ideal home because I never considered just a vessel because I consider it's a very important part of my life. It's a part of my family. I really use my mind and my soul to work on it, and in return, they're beautiful. So when I work on those ceramic shards, so that's why, I work on the ceramic. I pick up the vessel forms and then I broke it. You couldn't use the top, you couldn't use the bottom, and you can only use the middle part of the vessel. And the middle part, you have to find kind of the similar thickness of this, and that will be easy to use for the ceramic shards. And you need to drill a hole on each single piece of the ceramic shards, which are already broken off. 2,000 drills already.
Oh, wow.
Work on it, and so that's why I mean I've been learning studying Buddha. So I consider it's a way of how can I say, it's a practice, for my mind. You do the same thing, but every moment is different because this ceramic shards is different from the one you already put onto the piece. It's different from the one behind it. It's kind of like the waterfall. You stand and look at the waterfall, which already been there for years and years, kind of like Niagara Falls. But every second is different because it's different. The last seconds is not the current seconds. So when I work on those ceramic shards, the same. Look at all the ceramic shards because they're all different. They're all different. So that's why I have enough patience and to work on it. And I have this desire to finish the whole thing. That's how I work on it.
Right. I'm thinking about, when you say you put your heart into it, I think when you said that, that made me think about, just when you're doing, like when you're, for instance, for me, when I'm preparing a meal for others, I notice that, like, if I put, like, I'm really putting the effort comes from my heart, that those things end up turning out the best versus the ones where it's just like, okay, this there and this there, right? And I'm really curious about how you refer to the practice, how the practice seems like it's an extension of yourself, and also then that makes the works extensions of you too in some ways, when you're thinking of it. And I know that you also want people to see themselves. So ultimately, are you trying, or with your work, are you having a conversation with your viewers?
That's a very good question. I think I've been working with Tucker Gallery, and the artist brother Thomas been talking, stated the art is not finished until it shares with others, and I really agree with it. So I think sharing is very important to the artwork, and for my artwork, at each stage may turn out different. but they're all related to my personal experience. So they have deeper connections, they have deeper connections for all of the works. And they maybe looks different, but there's something in common behind it. And so I really want to share this, with the audience. But I mean, for the audience, the audience is different. They have younger, older, the boys, the girls, teachers, businessmen. People had their own experience in life. So when different people look, even for the different people look at the same artwork, they would have different feelings and different ideas. So for me, I really want to my audience, to how can I say? No, I really want to take the viewer to a place they've never been to on a soul level. On a soul level. And I really want my work could take the viewer to a place they've never been to. So that's something, I really want to try to do.
That's
and
interesting.
They could get a very unique and a special experience from looking at my work.
Well, I also think too, that means that like it's a very individualized experience. Like when you put it out, when work goes out, it becomes a sort of collective experience, right? Because you have people that may come together or come over a different period of time to see the work. But then there's this sort of individual experience that you're hoping people have with it, right? Too, that because every person is different. So every sort of connection will be different too. So that's really cool and very interesting. I'm looking behind you at a couple of illusion pieces, and I thought to myself, I'm like, man, I only was able to select one for the show when we have such good examples of upwelling of gravity and the Schwann series. And then I think we also have the allegory of balance. So can you talk about these illusion-based works, which are wall-based works, where they seem to have their vessel, mostly vessels that maybe have been cut in half and glazed and then affixed to the stainless steel surface. Can we, because I know I didn't ask you about those before, but I'm kind of curious about that series as well.
Okay, so for that piece, there's the Chinese poem. We have this special term we call in Chinese. We call 水中月, kind of the moon in the water. So you can see the reflection of the moon from the water. There's a moon in the water, but no, actually the moon is in the sky. It's not in the water. So there's a feeling, you see the moon there, but actually it's not there. It's in the sky, but you truly see it. So that kind of art, so art is real, but in a way, art is not real. It's a feeling. It's a reflection of your own feeling. You can see yourself through something, but that's your feeling. Other people may not see it that way. So that's totally unique, personal experience. So when I work on this illusion work, the idea is start from those things. Technically, so I will still work on the full vessel forms. Not that easy, you do a full vessel and cut in between, like two parts. It's no, because you need the reflection is a perfect half of the vessel. And when you cut it, you will lose some parts of the vessel. So the other part is a small part, small half. If you use that one, put down the stainless steel, it will not round it because it's small half. So you can only save half, and technically. So and I use a screw to drill the hole on the halfway. So I use the screw from the back of the stainless steel to screw in the ceramic parts to lock up. So the technical thing, the idea actually, how can I see? There's I Ching or Taoism, in China. There's some philosophy behind it. So because this vessel form is upside down, kind of like the Xuan work. That's just share the similar idea. Let's start a little bit from Xuan and then connect it with the illusion. So the Xuan, I call the Xuan. Xuan, in Chinese, the same pronunciation can have different characters. So kind of Xuan, this pronunciation for the Chinese characters, we have Xuan means revolving, kind of this revolving, still called Xuan, and hanging, suspended, still called Xuan, and Xuan still called, considered a kind of jade, still another Xuan. And Xuan still kind of like a Taoism, talk about Xuan, it's mysterious, kind of is really hard to understand, very philosophical, so still called Xuan. So that's why I use the English word, I use Chinese pinyin called Xuan, and in Chinese people ask which Xuan, which Xuan. So that's why this pronunciation share, you will see, oh, it's revolving, it can revolve, so it's Xuan. It's hanging, still Xuan. So what idea? It's hard to understand. Still a philosophy behind this pronunciation, Xuan. So they share the same word. So this idea is totally the same as illusion piece. I call it illusion, but the idea is, the vessel form is upside down. Upside down, so you will see the full vase form. But the vase form is upside down. In Chinese, we call Dao. Dao, upside down. In Chinese word, we call Dao. Dao, this pronunciation has different meanings. So upside down is Dao. And Taoism, Lao's Taoism, still Dao. So the form upside down, Dao, I considered a key to open the lock of Taoism. So people, oh, Dao, so they know upside down, but it will open the lock of Taoism, of the Tao. So totally philosophical ideas behind it. So you will see, oh, there's a halfways, and you can see the full ways from the reflection. So we'll see, the moon in the water, kind of the same thing actually is in the sky. So kind of similar ideas will come up because it's upside down, it's Tao, but you will see the Taoism. So that's the philosophical ideas behind those works. That's how I started to work on.
Gotcha. And so now that brings me to the question of scale, so you have such varying scales. So you have, works like illusions, like we were just talking about, you have the sort of smaller Schwan, and then there's larger ones. And then I feel like I see a little bit of allegory of balance happening behind us. Maybe that's one of your plans. One of the sort of plans that you're working on right now. So can you talk about scale for us and the importance of the size of the works?
Yeah, I think nowadays should derive from my college studying. I think the sculpture is very special. It's very different from other forms. Now let's compare with sculpture and the paintings. So when you look at the painting, there's no certain ways you have to look at the painting from the left to right or from the right to left. You will see the whole picture at the same time. But for sculpture, it's different. It's a three-dimensional object in the three-dimensional space. And you may see the sculpture from the front. You may see the sculpture from the back or the side. But the different angles, even you see the sculpture from different angles, but they all exist in the same time and space. At the same time, it's just there. It doesn't matter you see it from the back or the front or the side. So, but if you see the piece from seeing the piece from front would be different from the back. You have different feeling. So that's sculpture. It's not painting. It doesn't matter, if you see the painting from the front or the left side and a little bit, it's all the same painting. But the sculpture were totally different because three-dimensional, the space is keep changing. So that's one thing. And this will let people will have totally different feeling when you see the sculpture from the book or a prints, because it froze the time, because not only one perspective to see the sculpture. You cannot experience the sculpture at the same time because you made from the back on the left or the front. So that's uniqueness of the sculpture. So at this point, it's better to see the sculpture in person. So when you really see the sculpture in person, the scale can affect you. If the sculpture is smaller to you, you feel, oh, this is intimate, it's so cute. When the sculpture is similar to you, you feel kind of like, okay, kind of like friends. But when the sculpture is bigger and bigger, you will feel, it's kind of overwhelmed. And you will feel yourself is small, only small part of the world. And this is so strong. So that's why I think the scale played a very important role of sculpture. So that's why I've been working now on the sculpture. I work on the egg forms. I have the smaller egg form, and then I have the 1.2 meter egg, 2 meters tall the egg form. Right now I have 3.5, kind of like this tall. The egg form is never finished. A few days now I will move into this space. So because you will have totally different feeling, you will feel the scale, and you will feel the time, and timing of finishing the whole piece. So that's why I think this is very important. So that's why I keep exploring, the scale of different pieces. Now for some sculptures, a smaller piece looks perfect. If you make larger piece, may not have this power. But for some piece, you have to work on the scale will be large and very overwhelmed, and you can feel the power of the piece. And the scale really says something to the audience. So that's why now I've been exploring this for a long time.
So I've been moving in this direction. So I'm gonna keep asking you. So what are you working on? What are you working on now? And like what projects are you working on now? And where can we see more of your work besides at the KIA?
Okay, so let's have been working. So I've been this next piece for Chihuly, right? So that's something I've been working. That's my studies. Now I do a lot of studies on paper, and then I use metal to work on the three-dimensional study, to work on the space, and the form, and until I feel it's good to me, and then I will use similar material to work on the life size scale. This will be at least 2 meters tall. So kind of like the study behind me, I use foam to work on the life size. So I will feel how the scale plays a role in this piece. Okay. And then I start to use the final material to finish it. So that's some pieces. Now this piece now I've been working for already almost a year.
Mm.
Finally, I feel it's very interesting. This piece kind of will be around 5 meters wide, kind of 5 meters. And this will be almost 4 meters tall. And
Ooh.
I will cut them to different parts and finally to assemble them together. So that's why we can just easily move and in and travel to work on. So there's some current pieces I'm working on. Actually, I have way more days put on this table behind me there. So I have the full table of those.
Wow.
So this is a current projects I've been working on. Plus the 3.5 meters tall the egg form. It will finish in just a few days. And
Okay.
so this those three major pieces I've been working on, but simultaneously I'm still working on the smaller piece of allegorical balance by the different forms. And still I need firing some upwelling gravity piece simultaneously. So kind of I've been working on a few pieces at the same time. Because after this work in certain period of time, I need to stop. And because this kind of it's brand new. Now there's no certain plan. How I can finish this piece. I have no idea. I've been working on the scale and the line and the form, and then I just work on the next step, and then I need to put it there to keep thinking until I have a clear idea, so I can keep working on this. So it takes a long time, and simultaneously, I'm working on other projects together. So those pieces all work back and forth, kind of all influenced me. How can I say? Inter kind of the overlap and the
Okay.
kind of yeah.
No, I mean, I'm really excited to see the new forms that you're working on and what the final, the end product will be. So that's exciting. So I know now you also have a show up in Kentucky right now, right? In Kentucky is it University of Kentucky? I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember.
University of Kentucky Art Museums, and the show just finished.
Oh,
They
it just finished. Okay, so
yeah,
it just came down.
yeah, just came down. Yeah,
So the
and
KIA, so we have to tell people they have to make sure they come and see your work here at the
but
KIA. And then I'm
but
sure there are other projects in the works for you. And certainly I'm really excited to see, like I said, the future forms. I'm trying to think, is there anything else that I should make sure that that we should make sure that our audience knows?
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's one more thing. So the Kentucky shows down, but the my work on view at the Philadelphia Museum Art is still on. It
Okay.
will last until this August. So
Okay. So in
yeah,
Philadelphia, if in Philadelphia and in Kalamazoo, that's awesome. I'm really excited. And I'm really hoping that, once you get stateside, you'll be able to come and visit us. We'll be able to host you here in Kalamazoo because there's no place like it. And I really have enjoyed the process of putting together the show and learning about you and your work. And I have so much tremendous respect for all that you do, and know that those large works are no easy feat. They take several people to move and to hold and all that other good stuff. So I want to take my hat off to you, my hat off to you, and say thank you so much for all your time and efforts. And I appreciate the heart that you put into the work for us. It's really important to do. And I feel like when I look at the works, there's so many different vantage points, that you did talk about, right? But also just the viewer being able to see yourself in different ways, I think is really important, and a really important reminder in this moment that we should, take the time to be self-reflective and mindful of ourselves and our place in the world. And I appreciate your contribution to helping us do that. So
Thank you so much for
thank you so much. Hongwei Li, everyone, I want to thank you for joining us this evening. This was really very wonderful. And but I want to thank everyone that's viewed the presentation tonight. I want to say a special thank you to Joy and Timothy Light, who are our patrons of this important gallery and series of programming in this gallery. And again, come and see the show. It's on view through October 2nd. Thank you so much. Have a great evening, everyone.